What was that voice? I know, I love it. Let's stop the game! Top left-hand side from Kaizi Gaming. This is going to be our blue Zerg player, Reynor. In the bottom right, our red Protoss from Alpha X. It is Zoun. Alright, well, Zoun comes to Hatch Block straight away. Neo-Humanity is the map, so it's actually kind of an interesting, weird map. I do think Zoun likes these kind of maps, right? Because he gets to play kind of his weirder things, and Zoun's not exactly the most standard or normal of players by a long shot, so I actually think this is maybe why you send Zoun out, knowing it's Neo-Humanity first. You get him out onto a map that's going to be weird, whether it's, you know, ZvP or ZvT. So I think that's actually probably a decent call from Alpha X now, looking at the map. And, Reynor, I think, is pretty happy to just play kind of whatever. He probably feels like ZvP on this map's alright, is something you can deal with. So, yeah. Going to be seeing our hatch gas and pool coming up, so nothing too surprising about that just yet. So that's pretty much just the norm for the moment. Just going to be seeing our Nexus and Cybercore and everything coming online on the other side of this, so that will all come through, and just going to be seeing nothing weird yet. Obviously, one of our big question marks will just be what exactly Zoun wants to do in terms of trying to set up on this, right? You know, does Zoun want to play a Stargate? Is he going to play straight to Twilight? Is he going to do one of those Zoun-y robo facility builds? Like, Zoun really will come out with a whole bunch of different things, so he does have options in that regard. Single probe, just keeping an eye on the natural. Here, a couple lings are out, and there is the immediate Twilight Council from Zoun. So it looks like he wants to play some Glaives, and I think fair to mention as well, Zoun's potentially last tournament. He is going to the military, he cannot delay it, so Zoun is going to be leaving us in terms of professional StarCraft 2. One less Protoss player on the scene. Just in case we didn't have, you know, too few already. But Zoun, unfortunately, is going to be leaving us here in this event, and sadly... Yeah, probably, I mean, maybe he plays a couple other things afterwards, like smaller events, but this is, for him, pretty much going to be it, so... Zoun is great having it. It's so weird that Zoun has to go to military, because, again, I said this earlier, to me, he doesn't feel like one of the older players, he feels like one of the, you know, one of the newest players, so... Yeah, very interesting. Feelings is going to work on those rocks in the center, start working through that best we can. Let's see, knock down these rocks early, so Reynor just doesn't want to deal with this early, wants to slow down any progress through the middle of the map as well, which is obviously something you definitely gain from this pretty much straight away, so that's definitely a factor. So that's going to be really nice. The first prism comes around the side though, so nothing actually going to really be walking through the center here. That shouldn't be too problematic. There's that prism. Comes around this right-hand side. So, Dark Shrine going to be the follow-up, by the way. Is going to be Adepts into the DT, so this is obviously one of the issues here you always have, where you just don't quite know what exactly you're kind of playing against on the follow-up. These Adept builds can really kind of hit you with so many different things following up from the start of the game, so... can always be very interesting in that regard too. As you are going to see, the first defense though is very good from Reynor. His roaches are out. He's able to defend against this. He does a very good job and really makes this look pretty easy altogether in the first few minutes. Roaches come over, a few drones going down. Devs would like to try and get a few more workers as well. Can they? I mean, we're getting up to 10. I mean, obviously, it's one thing to have the units initially. It's something else to kind of follow up from there. As we get things underway. Let's see if your Adepts will get actually cornered here, so they're not going to be able to make it out easily either just yet. Just going to be seeing those Roaches trying to clean this up, forcing the Adepts to kind of just commit in. They don't really have a good choice right here. The DT's detection is ready, so right from the start, this shouldn't really do too much, right? I want to say this is looking pretty comfortable just to begin with, and yeah. I was going to see that Prism. Gonna go moving back over the side, trying to find some more damage. There's work to be done, obviously, for Zoun. He's really just not found enough early on in this game, so definitely hoping to try and get a little bit extra done. We get a Nexus down the front. I mean, that's the third Nexus. I mean, that's obviously not fast enough at all compared to what you're usually expecting to see here, so that 100% is going to be an issue as well. There's a lot of issues, basically, right now. Let's see our Lair about to finish up, so we'll see what sort of tech Zoun wants to play beyond this. Obviously, so Reynor wants to play beyond this, but Zoun's just playing into the +1 and the Blink. So he's already getting that +1 and Blink on the way, so we know what he wants to do. Reynor, I imagine, is probably just going to go Roach Speed, Bane Speed, and probably play a very aggressive follow-up in general, and probably not need to do too much fancy here. And we'll bring the DTs back in. Again, the DTs, I think, were the real letdown so far. To invest into those and really find absolutely nothing off of them is really just a bit of a shame, right? So yeah, they've been a little bit of the sad part of this so far, if there was one for Zoun. The Adepts did okay in the end. They got a good few workers. Obviously, then the lateness of the third base becomes an issue too, but yeah. Well, just going to be seeing all of our Roaches stacking up together. It is just Bane Speed, Roach Speed, and a ton of units from Reynor. Going to sit at 60 drones only. He really believes he has a chance to get across the map here and end this game. And I do not blame him, right? I mean, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, you defend like you did earlier, and it is going to be a question mark, but we do lose the natural now, so there is something that comes out of this then from Zoun. He does find some way to deal some damage, and maybe this is what he needs, and now Reynor's going to be a lot more committed to this. Really needs to do some heavy damage. He is almost double up on the army supply, but of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to win these fights. Let's see, it is pretty much just purely Stalkers here. That's one of the good things for Reynor. There's no tech units, there's no Archons or anything, not even from DTs that morphed in earlier. Here's one that shows up right now, but the Banes have already gone through the initial chunk of units, knocking down a battery in the back as well. And I just don't think these Stalkers have enough damage output to ever slow down these Roaches. We're trying to warp in a few more Stalkers here as they come in. Probes transferring. If we had a couple more Banes, those probes would have been in some serious trouble. As the Prism will try and micro back. But Reynor, for the moment, is looking good. As Zoun just hasn't really found enough thus far. Roaches and Ravages obviously get rid of this base. Reynor, the only thing that really went wrong was losing that natural previously. That now is out of the way and behind him, and he picks up a big map here against Zoun. It's going to be massive for his team. They know that, as Alpha Rex are just losing lives, and they can't stop it at the moment. They cannot. Just kind of thinking through what we might potentially see in this. Top right is Reynor from Kaizi Gaming. The map here puts them into the lead of this series completely. Obviously, right now, they haven't officially scored a point until this one ends, so that's one more thing to kind of keep in mind, I guess. Top right is Reynor, bottom left is Zoun. Zoun trying to bring this back a little bit for Alpha X. They've been so good with this core of Estrella and Zoun and Ragnarok in the World Team League. This is, again, obviously going to be the last time that they play like this kind of roster in the league as well, so it's actually going to be kind of interesting. I do wonder who Alpha X will pick up. I mean, Alpha X used to have Classic on the team, so they used to have Classic. In the past, they've had Nice as well. He stepped up for them in team leagues, took down Clem in an important ace match one time with a Proxy Nexus, Stargate Tempest thing, kind of a battery rush. That was very fun when that happened. Alpha X have always just been solid as a team, and they really kind of step up. You know, each player steps up when they need to, so finding someone to fill the shoes of Zoun is definitely not going to be easy. Hatchery forced onto the third location here, nothing too surprising about that. As that probe comes down from the main to the natural. Everything just pretty, yeah, pretty natural so far, right? Nothing really too wild. We're going to see our first Deb coming out. See what kind of build. That's going to be a Twilight again from Zoun. So he's going to go for the Twilight a second time. I wonder just how aggressive he is going to try to be this time around with it, right? So that's going to be one of our big question marks. You know, how many gateways do we put down with the Adepts? Is it just going to be into those DTs again? I kind of highly doubt that, but it is, of course, something of a possibility to think about. There's a lot of different things to kind of keep in mind. Here comes the Adept, feelings moving over. Trying whatever they can to try and initially get set up. That Glaives is on the way, and again, it's a lot about just what we're going to be seeing along with the Glaives that's going to kind of decide this, right? Like, you know, again, how many gateways do we get to? You know, do we play it very differently from last time? Right now, we're just adding on the 2 extras, so it's going to be that for the moment. Protron coming up. Obviously, Reynor is going to be pretty well timed out for this here, so just getting that ready to go, and yeah, seeming pretty reasonable, all things considered. So as Glaives is about to finish up, and as Glaives completes, we're going to have an actual Overlord scouting in from Reynor, trying to pick up a little bit of info. Trying to just figure out what exactly is indeed going on over here. Adepts is going to grab a Zergling. And these Adepts will make their way out to the upper right-hand side. Well, Adepts around the left as well. It's just going to continue to move around with this one. Yeah, a few drones. Obviously, it's not super crazy to begin with. Now the robo facility is coming online. Just going to bring that up. That Nexus coming through. Robo Bay is on the way in as well, so continue to get this going. Now the Robobay, yeah, really will just be the next stop here for Zoun. See if he can do what he needs to. We're just still defending and just not really letting Zoun get anything too crazy. Truly get underway at first, so in pretty good control of this. Just going to be seeing a couple of deaths. Do get a couple more drones, but again, nothing super out of the ordinary. I'm just going to be seeing now a couple extra drones going down. Failing Nest and melee upgrade, roach speed as well, all coming up here. Reynor comfortably up in supply for the moment. His work account solid. And it's just going to be 5 more gates from Zoun as he gets the disruptors online with that prism speed. Scout here from Reynor, going to see the robo still working. Don't think that's too surprising for him. He's going to see the Twilight Council starting something as well. That's also not really too wild. And this will pick their way through this Nexus, and the Adepts want to try and jump on. They are going to get rid of just a link to begin with. Now the Prism over to the right side with a couple of Disruptors inside. Well, obviously Disruptors can do a lot over time. You get a lot of different shots off, a lot of damage can be done. So definitely a lot to watch for here. Gonna see extended thermal lance on the way out as well. Trying to get up. That Spore Crawler pushes the Prism away. Things continuing after that Prism here. Our Adept, Sentries, a few Stalkers all gathering again. Now you see now 22 Lings still in production. Now our Queens come across. They're going to go push the Disruptors around. Sorry, the Queens around with these Disruptors. And, well, the Disruptors are actually going to be able to get up and away. Only a couple of drones lost. Reynor spamming Banelings. Now, if he commits to an attack here, what he really needs to achieve is he needs to just not take a big Disruptor shot on the Banes. If he can avoid that, very plausibly he ends up in a pretty good situation. So, definitely one thing we could look to as that Ling Roach Ravager Bane goes through a set of rocks, and we start to look for the chance to move down across the map here. Reynor is more or less maxed out. There is a... Oh, the Disruptors fire too soon. No, I mean, the flanking idea is good, but Reynor's on top of it, so he doesn't let that do much. Baneling's rolling on the left side now. So far, that's looking okay for Zoun. The Banes do sneak through a little bit, though, and there's not going to be a chance for this Colossus to really do enough damage. We need these Disruptors to come off cooldown right now as Force Fields get busted by the Corrosive Bars. We blink backward. Can we buy enough time? Disruptors drop out. Zoun is praying for a Disruptor shot. The probes pull into Banelings. The Disruptor shot hits a single Roach. That's not going to do it. Reynor up about 100 supply right here. 21 probes dead from Zoun, and he is just not going to be able to hold on. The Colossus on the natural just survives with a super battery. Corrosive Bars will start to work their way through that. Baneling's going to go back to the left side hunting for probes that just don't exist. Zoun, where are your workers? Honestly, I don't even know. I mean, obviously good that they've not been over there because the Banes would have got rid of them. Ling's going to come back through, going to get rid of these Stalkers. And this Colossus over in the corner needs to be careful. I was going to say the Banelings could just splash on it to kill it, but I think Zoun is in trouble. Wow, wow, wow. Colossus still firing, a couple balls coming through, and GG says Zoun. And Reynor is going to take the 2-0 here to put Kaiser Gaming into the lead in this World Team League playoff matchup. Reynor getting the job done. Just like that.